الله سميع عليم والمطلقات يتربصن بأنفسهن ثلاثة ولا يحل لهن. Okay, good morning, Shuruk. Could you please mute your mic? Okay. Okay, we are recording. So we are going to start because today we're just going to have a discussion. So if you have comments, points to make about our short story, the story we finished last week, The Land of Sad Oranges. But before we start, what I'm going to do, I want to make sure that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Everybody can hear me? Everybody, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Man, okay, Shayma, okay, very good, very good. So what I want from you, I want you later on to open your mics. The person who has a comment to make, don't ask me about exams now. I mean, you are taking this course not because you want to pass exams, because you want to learn. I want you to make the best of this opportunity. I am sure most of you liked the story we've read. We will, inshallah, next time I meet you, we will start reading another story from Senegal. Don't forget, this is comparative literature. Comparative literature is not necessarily about comparing. You know this idea because of comparative, that means comparing our literature to literature written only in in English or European or Western languages, not necessarily. As I told you, part of what we are doing is post-colonial literature. Post-colonial literature is by nature comparative. So what I'm going to do before we start, because I don't want to forget this, there are some definitions, okay, that I want you to look up. I want you to find out. And I don't know which one of you asked me last time, do I want you to memorize? No. I don't want you to memorize anything. I am a terrible memorizer, right? So to speak. I don't like, to memorize anything, but I like to understand. What I want from you, the chat session now, I will copy, excuse me, I will paste, copy and paste, okay? I will paste some of the definitions, concepts that I kept repeating while analyzing the story with you. You know what I'm saying? And what I want from you, I want you to look at them. Try to find out what they mean, the context within which they can be used. For example, I use the word Nakba. Everybody knows the word Nakba. It's an Arabic word, but what does it really mean? The definition. Not the dictionary meaning of the word. Of course, if you don't know the meaning of a word, check your dictionary. Even though, let me give you this little piece of advice. The dictionary has to be the last resort, which means it is always better for you to try to understand the meanings of words that you don't understand from the context. Then if you want to make sure by referring to its direct meaning from the dictionary, that's fine. But it's always better, believe me, if you want to learn the language itself. Notice what I'm teaching you literature. I'm teaching you this, comparative literature. You know, comparative literature, for those of you who don't know, was Edward Said's field of study, for example. Look at that. Edward Said was the head of the Department of Comparative Literature at Columbia University. Those of you who don't know Edward Said, I want you to find out. Okay, so what I'm going to do that, we're going to do 2 or 3 things. If we don't finish before 40 minutes, if we don't finish, I can invite you again. I can send you another link and we meet at 11 o'clock. I hope that we will finish within 40 minutes. I want to hear from you. So the first thing, number 1, look at the, sorry. I wrote the wrong thing. I want to open, because I wrote some of the concepts that I discussed with you within the context of the land of sad oranges. I'm writing them now in the chat. If you look at the chat session, okay, I hope everyone can see them. Everyone? Shayma is on my screen. Shayma, can you see them? Uthman, Shuruq, Wala. Yeah?
Yes,
okay, good. I just want to make sure, because, you know, I'm not that good at this thing. So we have, okay, I'm going to read them quickly, so you know how even, you know, pronounce them. I'm not asking you use, you know, a British accent or, you know, American. No. I just want you to know how to pronounce them. Whatever accent, whatever dialect you are using, I'm okay with that, right? My accent is my accent. The dialect I'm using is, I know it's, you know, between British and, you know, South African. I know that, for example, yeah. The point is, everybody understands it. So what I'm interested in, I want you to know how to pronounce them. Of course, you remember in our first lecture, first hour we had together, first week, I told you we are going to start, you know, with resistance literature. So I want you to find out very quickly, not now, later on, as a definition, what we mean by resistance literature. The first one, by the way, I'm just telling you this. The first one to use it was Ghassan Kanafani himself. I mean, look at that in Arabic. Adab al-Muqawama. Okay, when he wrote Adab al-Muqawama, resistance literature, it was a study. It was a study. Or was he rather referring to a specific kind of literature? Actually, I'm telling you, yes. He was referring to the literature of Palestinian poetry. Okay, let's say literature, but in particular, he was referring to Palestinian poetry written by Palestinian citizens of the state of Israel. What we call, you know, Palestinian 48, 1948 Palestinians. See what I'm saying? Okay, but is this the definition of Palestinian? Sorry, is this the definition of resistance literature? No. No, this is how it began. You see the point? Okay. Okay, I'm going also to write your names because attendance is compulsory. Okay, I'll take a screenshot. Okay, the second term is comparative literature. This is the title of our course. What is comparative literature? I will leave that for you. I want you to find out. I want you to tell me. I mean, you chose to take this course. You didn't have to take it, by the way. It's an elective course. I'm sure you have an idea in your head. You have something in your mind. You have something. So there are definitions of comparative literature. I want you to come up with, you know, a couple of sentences telling me what comparative literature is. And then I said, we are going to be studying also pieces from post-colonial literature. What do I mean by post-colonialism? post-colonialism, post that which comes after. Is that the definition? No, I need more. Yes, but I need more. That's not enough. It does not give me the definition of post-colonialism. So what do I mean? Post-colonial literature. What is post-colonial literature? Then colonialism. The story itself, The Land of Sad Oranges, is an anti-colonial piece of literature. It was written in response to the colonization of Palestine. It was written in response to the colonization of Palestine by Zionist gangs. And by the way, let me add the term Zionism. We use it all the time. What is Zionism? Okay. So colonialism and Zionism, what's the relationship? You will tell me. And then we have settler colonialism. Palestine, we have settler colonialism. Before 1948, it was colonialism. Still colonialism, but it was British colonialism. British colonialism, you know this, of course. But now we are under form of, what did they say? Settler colonialism, which is a form of colonialism. Okay, what is it? What's the difference? I'm asking you, and I hope some of you are taking notes. What's the difference between, colonialism, settler colonialism? Okay, think about it. We said 1948, Nakba. The story, The Land of Sad Oranges, is told from the perspective of a child. His understanding, even as a witness, he was a witness, witnessing the Nakba. And he tells me about the Nakba. So what is Nakba? If, a foreigner who doesn't, why don't I use the word catastrophe? Why don't I use the word disaster? Why don't I use the word tragedy? No, even in any language, by the way, any language, Russian, Zulu, French, I would use the word Nakba. If somebody comes to ask you, what do you mean by Nakba? What is Nakba? The definition, how do you define it? And then the Nakba was also a form of, how many times we use this term, Ya Sabaya Shabab, ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing. What is ethnic cleansing? Nakba is a process. One of the definitions of the Nakba, one of the definitions of the Nakba is that it is a process of ethnic cleansing. What is ethnic cleansing? What is the relationship between ethnic cleansing and settler colonialism? Nakba, settler colonialism, ethnic cleansing. Notice I'm telling you this not only because of our course, because as Palestinians, I really want you to understand these concepts. As university students, almost all of you are fourth-year students. I really want you to understand these terms. I know you know them in Arabic. Use them in Arabic. You say, at-tathir al-irqi. What do you mean by at-tathir? What do you mean by ethnic cleansing? So you have to have that ability of defining these terms. Ethnic cleansing, and then we have genocide. Genocide. You should know the definition of I know you know the meaning. Ibadah arqiyya. All right. So what is that? Sorry, ibadah jama'iyya. What is that? There is also ibadah arqiyya, definitely. Because you get rid of population. Why? Because of its race. Our next story is about racism. And this is why I asked you about racism in one of those words. I have indigeneity. Palestinians are the indigenous population of Palestine, native, original. But what is indigeneity? The indigenous population. Of course you know, but you'll have to tell me. And then racism and apartheid. All right? So these are the terms that I want you to read about them. find out what do we mean by racism, what do we mean by apartheid, what do we mean by colonialism, etc., etc. We have already discussed many of these definitions, right? Racism, we will discuss it in our next story. Clear? Apartheid, we will also discuss it. I want you to understand or to be able to define colonialism, colonialism, settler colonialism, ethnic cleansing, Nakba. You have to do that. Okay. Before I move on, I want to share. I will share something with you. But before that, if you have any questions, if you have anything you want to say also about the story, you can do it now. Okay. I have already uploaded analysis of the story on Moodle. Okay. I'm sure you have already seen that. So if you have any comments you want to say, you want to share ideas now with us, it's the time for you to say that, to say whatever you like. Okay? Right. Anybody wants to say anything? Okay. Yes, Uthman, go ahead.
Hello, Doctor.
But speak up a little bit, please. Raise your voice, huh?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to comment on the last paragraph that you told us it's like a homework. I just analyzed it by my way.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, and I felt it's something a little bit interested. Yeah, and I think in the last word, the narrator mentioned the most three elements to have a decent life, which are childhood. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you come again. The most interesting part is what you said.
Well, I mean, the narrator in the last paragraph mentioned the most three elements. Yes, to have a decent life, which are childhood and oranges, well, a land of oranges, and a gun or pistol. For a childhood, the narrator used the pronouns we, and when he said we were lifted up there withdrawn from our childhood, means that not only childhood was snatched from their childhood, but even adults, and that appears when he described his father as a little child and a small child when he saw his when he saw his stairs, and when also I was running like a little boy after the cars.
Excellent.
Who is trying to tell us that there was a child inside everyone who woke up when he fell, when he left, when he felt frightened and moved away from the home, which became a part of our existence. And if you fell and if you left your home, then a part inside us will move too and will drop from our childhood. And the second thing is the dry orange. Why it's a dry? Because it's like an abandoned house needs a family or a happy family to retain and water its dry orange trees.
Excellent.
And there is another thing. I think it's the most important thing. It's like the gun or the pistol. Well, seeing a pistol near to a dry oranges by a child means two things. The first thing, it shows a turning point in the Palestinian family from a happy family to a destroyed one with full of socio-economic problems, where a father wants to commit a crime with the most close thing to his heart, which is family and the children and even himself. And the second thing that the gun or pistol shows the solution to return to the land and to re-water the dry oranges, and suppose the saying of what was taken by force does not recover only by force. So it's like, it's like to tell us you need to fight in order to give your right back to.
Excellent. 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 No, this is very good, Uthman. But I want you to repeat the point about the pistol.
Mm-hmm.
The pistol, because the point I want you to repeat is, or I want you to address is, relationship. Here, this is a question for everybody. Relationship between the pistol and the shrunk, he says shriveled, the shriveled orange. So on the one hand, you have, you know, the shriveled orange, and you remember a farmer told them, if a stranger waters an orange tree, the orange tree dies. But what we have here, we have a shriveled orange and we have a pistol. What is that? I mean, what does the pistol stand for? Or rather, what I want everybody to think about is the relationship between the pistol and shriveled orange. Okay, you want to say something, Uthman?
Okay, no, I think.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I've finished.
You finished? Okay, right, okay. Anybody else? Anybody else wants to say something? Okay, all right. If nobody else has any questions, two things that I want you to, you know, to look at. I mean, that the analysis by Uthman, excellent, very, very good. I'm leaving you and Uthman here with one question: the relationship, based on what Uthman has just said, and both based on our analysis, the relationship between. Notice that's the last part, the last sentence of the story, even the last paragraph. The relationship between the pistol and the orange. What Uthman said about, you know, childhood and adulthood, that's absolutely correct. Because based on what you have just said, Uthman, the narrator is not a child. Now, this is important. Everybody, this is important. The narrator is reminiscing, meaning remembering his childhood. He remembers that period that we Palestinians and the narrator and his family call Nakba, right? And he's telling this story, as we said, his brother. Okay, I want you to look at. Can you see on the screen? I'm sharing something with you. Can you see it, everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
All right. This piece, I wrote it. Of course, I've already uploaded two pieces for you. Direct, you know, analysis by a student, not Palestinian, from, you know, Palestinian, I think, I'm not sure, yeah, but not from Gaza. The way, you know, to understand the land of sad oranges, you know, direct understand it, sometimes in a way literal. So that's number one that you have to read. And this is the second piece about my experience of teaching the land of sad oranges to you. You means Palestinian students, right? If you, okay, let's look together here. I mean, if you notice, okay, the first part is, you know, why choose the land of sad oranges to teach to Palestinian students? Why choose it? Or rather, what I personally have chosen it. Okay, that's an introduction. But you know, what I'm interested in here is, notice the Nakba from a child's, the second paragraph, third paragraph, or rather the second section, the Nakba from a child's perspective. And this addresses Uthman's point, what I have been saying. I mean, child or not child, but he was a child in 1948, but was the story narrated in 1948? No. No. It was written, narrated. It was written by Ghassan Kanafani. I'm not interested in that. Ghassan Kanafani, Allah yarhamu. But I'm interested in the narration of the story, how it is narrated and by whom. Interestingly, one question that I want you to think about, it is not, rather the name of the narrator not mentioned, remains unknown. I think Uthman has addressed it indirectly. Why have an unknown narrator? Everybody, okay? Why have an unknown, nameless narrator? Yeah. But also, most of you would try to interpret the story from, or rather would concentrate on the political dimension of the story. But notice, the political dimension is only one dimension. The story is multi-layered, more than one layer. Multi-layered means more than one layer. This is why, if you look at some sharing with you, it says in the second sentence of the second, or rather the first sentence says social, historical, and political complexes. So yes, political, but how can I understand it if I have no clue about what happened in 1948? Clear? History is important. Historical umbrella under which the events of the story take place is very important. The historical umbrella. But also, you remember the poverty. The father wanted to kill his children. He doesn't do that, but at one particular point, he decides to kill them. He starts looking for something. What is it? A box. What is inside the box? The narrator tells me that he finds out later on that the father wanted to take out a pistol and do what? Kill them and kill himself. Kill them. He wanted to kill them and kill himself. Why? Because of social pressure. Social pressure. Social pressure emanating from economic hardship. You can call it economic and social, or let us together agree, use the word socio-economic. Socio-economic. Okay? So I also talk about, complexities. Complexities. Why? The story has complexities because it is multi-layered. In other words, you as a Palestinian reader might understand it differently, in a different way. For example, I taught this story to Chinese students, South African students, Turkish students, and I'm telling you, amazing responses, amazing, but different responses from you. Because I know your response. I mean, I've just heard Uthman, and I've already taught it to other students. And I will, inshallah, there are questions that you will address later on, and I will see your response. Okay. Of course, elements of short story are important. We've already discussed this, characterization, the characters, name of the narrator, the relationship between, the narrator and his father, the narrator and his mother, the narrator and his brother, the brother is like us, is a reader, is a listener. Okay. Time, we talked about time. Right? The story is being told now from the perspective of this moment, because we are reading it now in 2020, but the events of the story take place in 1948. We're talking about 72 years. What I want you to look at is the relationship between what is happening now, 1948. And here is a political question. Attention, please pay attention to this question. This is important because I want you to learn something. This story, one of the ideas, this story is defending the right of return, حق العودة. Right? This family has existential problems, social problems, economic problems, political problems. It is an open-ended story. Correct? We don't know exactly what happens at the end because the Palestinian cause, we are in 2020, we are still suffering. We have 10 minutes left. Okay, no problem. We'll finish before that. Okay? We are told that solving the Palestinian problem means establishing an independent Palestinian state in the West Bank and Gaza with Jerusalem as its capital city. I'm going to repeat because I want everyone to understand this. We are told by our leaders, by the international community, by Arab leaders, that solving the Palestinian problem, the Palestinian question, the Palestinian cause can only happen within the context of the two-state solution. One state for Palestinians, Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem, and one state on 72% of Palestine for Israeli Jews. Now my question, if we have an independent state, Gaza, West, and the West Bank, as we are told, would that solve the problem of the narrator and his family? I'm leaving this question for everybody to answer on your own. Would the establishment of a Palestinian state, Gaza and the West Bank only, meaning what? 22% of Palestine, would that solve his problem? Because if we say Palestinian state in Gaza and the West Bank, and that's it, that doesn't mean return the land of oranges. Think about it. Clear? All right. And then I want to go, for example, if you look at the paragraph, 4 paragraphs down, that it says it becomes clear why oranges move with the Palestinians wherever they go. Because here's the point. If you separate Palestinian fallahin, Palestinian peasants, Palestinian farmers, the Palestinian people from the land of sad oranges, what happens to them? They become refugees. This is why they think of either killing themselves or returning to the land of sad oranges. No other option. No other options. Okay. This is why I say if the Palestinian is separated from her land, he or she is lost. Meaning what? Meaning, here is the Nakba. If you want to discuss the concept of the Nakba from the context of the story, separating the Palestinian from the land, from oranges, is very tragic. This is one of the meanings of the Nakba, tragedy. The separation is tragic. So let's look at the last paragraph together, and we will finish. So what do my students, that's my response. I checked what my students think about the story. No, I want you to become self-conscious, yes, Abaya. This is a study skills. I want you to become self-conscious. The first time you read this story, what did you think? What do my students think about the story? Now, notice, when I read it when I was a teenager, about 30 to 40 years ago. I remember one of my students, one reaction came from a student who read it to her grandmother. I remember her. من مخيم جباليا الله يسهل عليها. When we started reading this story together, she read it to her grandmother. Her grandmother is from the Nakba generation. كانت من وين؟ من Yafa. She was from Yafa, and which is, of course, Yafa is the land of sad oranges. The grandmother cried bitterly. She cried. I was told. Another group of students, this is one response. Look at another response. Another group of students thought it was necessary to keep reminding themselves of the Nakba by teaching similar stories. Some of your friends came and told me, look, doctor, yes, we are studying English literature, etc., etc., but we are Palestinian. This is why, and we do not belong to the Nakba generation. We need to be, to be reminded all the time that what we are suffering from now, Hisar Gaza, the blockade on Gaza, is because of what happened in 1948, not because of what happened only in 1967, Alaqsa. No, you take it back to 1948. Okay, now the most important question is the question that I have just said to you now. I asked you. The question that was raised by most of my students was about the solution. The narrator's dilemma. How can I solve the narrator's problem? How can I solve it? How to make the orange trees happy again? They are sad, which means they used to be happy. I want to make them happy again. How can we do that? So the question which I have already asked you, would the establishment of an independent state in the West Bank and Gaza mean anything to the Nakba generation who lost so much? Okay, Sabaya ya Shabab, that is the question. Would that mean anything to them? I leave that for you to answer. Okay, the last thing before you go, because we are finishing now, Zoom is giving me a warning. I want you to check Moodle today, tomorrow. We'll send you the link at our next class, and I will upload a booklet. A booklet with all the stories and the texts we will be reading this semester. Our next story is from Senegal, Black Girl, and I will give you homework. I want you to read the story. I will upload the whole book today. All the stories, the text we are going to read in Moodle. You'll find them in Moodle. I want you to read Black Girl, write one paragraph about whatever you understand. That's it. Whatever you understand. Don't analyze. Don't analyze. Read the Black Girl. What do you understand from it? Understand what I'm saying? We'll upload about 2 or 3 things today and tomorrow. And I want you to follow. Okay? I want you to follow every single day. Check your check Moodle, your account, your page, student account. Today I will upload the book or the booklet of the whole semester. I want you to read Black Girl. Okay, I'm writing this. Black Girl by Sembene Osmani from Senegal. By the way, it's also a movie. I promise you, you will love it. You will like it the same way. I'm not sure about whether it's the same or not. But you will enjoy it the same way you liked or you enjoyed. I'm not sure whether everybody enjoyed The Land of Sad Oranges, but I know that some of you have already written to me saying that it was a great story. So what I want from you, download the book, keep it, read Black Girl, write 1 to 2 paragraphs about your understanding and email them. Email your homework, mail it to me on the Moodle. Okay, we have to stop now. It is giving me a warning. And today I will write to you. Okay, bye everybody.